Two of the biggest right-wing frauds currently operating in the United States cooked up another one of their amazing plans to attempt to derail the presidential aspirations of Pete Buttigieg by recruiting people to lie and say that he had raped them. That's ridiculous. It shouldn't have to be on the news, but it is true because we as a country have not either just driven off into the shadows people like Jacob Wohl or sent them to prison. And honestly, at this point, I'm not sure how exactly he is not in prison, but I want to give you details. So a Republican source told the Daily Beast that lobbyist Jack Berkman and internet troll Jacob Wohl approached him last week to try to convince him to falsely accuse Buttigieg, the mayor of South Bend, Indiana, of engaging him sexually while he was too drunk to consent. The source said Berkman and Wohl made clear that their goal was to kneecap Buttigieg's momentum in the 2020 presidential race. The source provided a surreptitious audio recording of the meeting, which corroborates his account. In it, Wohl appears to refer to Buttigieg as a quote, terminal threat to President Donald Trump's re-election next year. So that source said no to it, did not participate, and in fact taped it so that they could prove that this had been going on. But on Monday, a separate individual using the name of Hunter Kelly published a post on the site Medium in which he alleged that Buttigieg sexually assaulted him in February. That post was tweeted out by David Wohl, Jacob's father, proving that the apple does not fall far from the absolutely horrible tree. Now, 2 hours after that, when reporters from the Daily Beast reached out to that person, Hunter Kelly posted a message to his Facebook timeline headed, "I was not sexually assaulted," and communicated with reporters saying, "It's important for everyone to know that I was not sexually assaulted and would never falsely accuse anyone," alleging that the Medium site had been used without his consent to produce the allegations against Buttigieg. Now, how did this person get wrapped up in this whole situation? Well, a statement was provided to the Daily Beast that said from that Facebook account that Wohl and Berkman flew Hunter Kelly to Washington, D.C. and showed him a statement detailing the bogus allegations against Buttigieg, which they then posted without his permission. He went on to say that they also tried to get him to sign off on a script for a press conference over his protests, but he called his family to come get him and then fled.
Okay, so I want you to understand there's two different people here. So they've been trying this all over town. And here's a particularly horrible part of it. They're going to gay Republicans and they're saying, okay, I think you'll do our bidding. Now, normally the way that this works is more sophisticated. You go on Tucker Carlson's program and you defend the terrible things he said about gays and you say that you're gonna help your left-wing friends understand how great Tucker Carlson is. That's a sophisticated way of using gay Republicans. In this case, they're like, hey, we just wanna bury our opponents, you're gay, why don't you just make up that Buttigieg hit on you, or not hit on you, sexually assaulted you, right? So they didn't do it, but and one of them, to his credit, recorded them. And Daily Beast, great reporting in this case. But in the Hunter Kelly situation, that's the one that they made up the Twitter accounts, et cetera, a month ago, and then they said, oh, okay, yes, I was sexually assaulted, and he had to come out 2 hours later. They had this whole company that they had created, and they did this
Potomac Intelligence.
Yes, they did this with the Mueller case too. In the Mueller case, Gateway Pundit, that'll print anything, printed it. Oh yeah, Mueller is sexually assaulting people, etc. It's because that's what the alt-right does. But Wohl is so out of control. Even the Gateway Pundit at one point had to be like, okay, we're not working with him anymore. Wow, when they say that, I mean, you have to be absolutely Chernobyl-like nuclear in how toxic you are. In this case, Big League Politics printed it. It's not like you can't find a right-wing website. Normally, the way that this game is played is you'll find an alt-right or a right-wing website to print it, and then a so-called more legitimate right-wing website like Daily Caller or something, they're all the same folks, will pick it up and make it a story. Daily Caller is allowed in the White House. Obama let him in the White House, and then people are like, oh, that's legitimate. So Fox News will run it, and that's how they do swift boat veterans. That's how they said Hillary Clinton was having an imminent aneurysm, and the list goes on. And then there's Seth Rich, and the list goes on and on. But now Wohl and Berkman have taken it to a new level. And so when people are outraged by it, understand this is just a difference in gradation. It's still the same playbook. I mean, what did Project Veritas do? O'Keefe, he did the same thing, but enormously successfully. He went after Acorn, and Republicans and even some corporate Democrats voted to defund Acorn based on made up videos, doctored videos. Then they did it to Planned Parenthood. And O'Keefe broke several laws. But there's right-wing privilege in this country. The right wing can break laws ad nauseum, whether it's Donald Trump or O'Keefe, and get away with it. Jacob Wohl, now, based on our reporting, Ken Klippenstein did a story. He did a FOIA request, Freedom of Information, from the FBI, and they said that they could not respond because it was part of a law enforcement proceedings.
Yeah.
So that means that Jacob Wohl might be in a lot of trouble. But he's still free, man, even though he's made up one thing after another. He did a press conference at CPAC just in February saying that Ilhan Omar married her brother. And then he went and reported fake death threats against him from Omar's fans.
Yeah,
none of it is true. By the way, they were him. And by the way, that is reporting something that is false to the police. That is a crime. And all the people who are so mad about Jesse Smollett, oh, you can't report a fake crime. I mean, you should go to prison for that. So where's Jacob Wohl? He should be in prison. But instead, he's out there making up more stories. So this Potomac Intelligence, they have a whole website. It's all nonsense about how they're doing Saudi work for the Saudis. They put out statements like, we will not apologize for the anti-terror activities. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Okay, just like the other one, run out of their mom's basement, literally in Jacob Wohl's case. And so when Daily Beast calls and asks about these, their website, their LinkedIn page, and all of it went down in minutes. All of a sudden gone. Gee, I wonder if it's real or not. Okay, so there is no end to how low these guys will go. Look, we've made fun of Jacob Wohl, and one of the guys actually, the source for the Daily Beast, not Hunter Kelly, recognized Jacob Wohl. He was using a fake name, but he recognized him from his internet fame. I don't know if it was because of the Young Turks or other people that have covered it. And he's like, that guy's not Bill, he's Jacob Wohl. And so he started recording when he realized it was a scam.
Yeah.
And so that's why they got the information on him. Now, in some ways it's funny. At CPAC, Jacob Wohl had a security guard. He was the smallest security guard in American history. But that's not the funny part, although it's slightly funny. The ear pod in his ear, pretending to be security, it's just an ear pod. So that's this clown. When they asked him, hey, you said you went to Harvard. Did you really go to Harvard? He said, no, that's a figure of speech. No.
Oh, you don't know that figure of speech?
No, I don't know that figure of speech. So, I mean, in some ways he's comically stupid. No, in a lot of ways, and so is Berkman. But these are crimes that they're committing: fraud, impersonating officers, making up crimes. I don't know that they impersonated a police officer, but they're impersonating other people. And then there's federal issues at stake here. This is an uneven playing field. No one on the left does this, not within miles, not within continents. And you have constant scam artists on the right. I mean, look at what they're doing. They're accusing someone of sexual assault, trying to ruin his career. And they're like, who cares? Who cares? We don't care about the truth.
I don't care.
And I mean, guys like Roger Stone started this, where one side plays dirty nonstop and will lie about anything. But our media generally calls it even. Now, they don't call it in the case of Wohl and Daily Beast's wonderful reporting. And if you tell somebody at CNN, they'd make fun of Jacob Wohl and they know he's a joke. But they take O'Keefe seriously, they take Roger Stone seriously.
Yeah, and there will always be a Republican billionaire to hand him $500,000 to start up some BS blog or another intelligence, whatever. Like he's still more legitimate in terms of that because they like it. Like nobody on the right actually cares that he's lying when he does this. What they care about maybe a little bit is that he's caught, but not enough to stop following him. I mean, he's trending again based on this effort. How many times has he trended on social media based on just trying to break the law and sort of failing ridiculously and owning himself? But he just gets more and more notoriety, which again, Trump has proved is never going to hurt you. It cannot hurt you in the modern day. And at some point, these buffoons will break the law in a slightly more sophisticated fashion. It won't be as comically easy to tie them to the crimes that they've committed, and it will ruin someone's career. They're not the only ones, as you pointed out, we're currently doing that. They tried to do it to the director of Guardians of the Galaxy, and like Majority Report had to deal with that same sort of thing. They're in the business of trying to destroy careers, and at some point, they will even accidentally, it'll work. They'll get someone to claim that another one of the candidates in the 2020 cycle did it. And maybe eventually we will figure out that it was Jacob Wohl in them, but I have no doubt that those same CNN panels that'll laugh at him briefly now will be running with that if it looks even semi-credible.
And lastly on this, when their source expressed reluctance to take part in their scam, they assured him that, don't worry, it'll make you wealthy, famous, and a star in Republican politics. And there actually is a lot of truth in that.
Yeah.
2 easy ways to follow the Young Turks. One is hit the subscribe button down below, then you're a TYT subscriber. And second is ring the bell. And when you do that on YouTube, you're notified of our videos.